Welcome to my channel. This is today's episode of Daily News Clips. Sorry, I'm laughing because of something that happened before I came on. Before I get into Daily News Clips, I do have to thank you for coming to my channel and for supporting me. I really do appreciate that. And I have a note right at the top of my notes for the day that says, "Don't forget your shirt." Well, this shirt, you can see, has got a lot on it. So the only way I'm going to be able to show you what's on this shirt is twofold. I have to put it up on the screen, which I'm going to do now, and then you won't be able to see me. And then I have to blow it up on my screen so I can actually read it to you, because there's a lot of information on this shirt. So this is the shirt, and what this is if you're not familiar with it, there's a meme that's been going on the internet for years about how tough Chuck Norris is. And I've always been a Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee fan, love karate movies and that kind of stuff. And so, somebody knew that, and they bought me this shirt. And so I'm going to attempt to read what's on here for you. At the top it says, 10 things you need to know about Chuck Norris. And then down below it has them listed in order. Number 1, he can sneeze with his eyes open. 2, before he goes on stage, Chuck Norris breaks someone's leg to give himself good luck. If you don't know about this in America, I don't know if this is worldwide or not, maybe it is. There's a tradition in the acting field that you always say, break a leg before a performance. It means have good luck. And I have no idea what the origin of that is. I should look that up. Number 3, Chuck Norris was the first person to tame a dinosaur. Number 4, Chuck Norris, I'm sorry, I find these things really funny. Chuck Norris's heart beats once every week. Number 5, it never rains on Chuck Norris. Number 6, Chuck Norris has no doors in his house, only walls to run straight through. Oh, Lord. This stuff just cracks me up. It really does. Now I have to switch to a different picture so I can get the bottom of the shirt and read it to you. Number 7, Chuck Norris can grate fresh Parmesan cheese with his beard. Number 8, Chuck Norris can turn back time by simply staring at a clock. Number 9, Chuck Norris won a staring contest with Medusa, And number 10, if you stare at the American flag long enough, a 3D picture of Chuck Norris will appear. Oh, gosh. So, you know 2 things about me. I'm a Chuck Norris fan, but I'm also a humor fan. And so I just like this stuff. And this is a shirt that I was given, and so I felt like the only way to share it with you was to actually put the whole thing up on the screen so you could see it all, because it's too funny for words. Anyway, let's get into the news. The first item that I have on the news for today is an interview with the president of El Salvador, Nayib Baukelo. I'm assuming I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong. What this is a teaser for the upcoming interview. So this is just about 2 minutes long. Well, actually 1 minute and 7 seconds long. And I thought you might find it interesting to hear this.
The major gangs.
And they are satanic. They started doing satanic rituals. I don't know exactly when that started, but it was well documented. In the case of El Salvador, we were literally the murder capital of the world. And we turned it into the safest country in the Western Hemisphere.
You did that in just a couple years. How did you change it?
So we pray.
You've transformed the country in a good way. You're literally the most popular elected leader in the world. Did you ever worry they would try and put you in jail?
Well, they did.
What advice would you give to another former democratically elected leader seeking office who is facing jail time?
Democracy works. Nobody can say it doesn't. But if you don't give maintenance to the system, it will fall.
In your inaugural, you said, in this term, the first point of my plan is seek God's wisdom.
Yes.
That is what you said.
Yeah, I said that, yeah.
Why would that be the first point of an economic
Why wouldn't it be?
I've never heard any leader of any country say that.
Because they probably forgot to represent the people that elected them.
Isn't that something? Probably they forgot to represent the people. Yeah, you'd think. That's the biggest problem we have in the world, in the entire world. That's the biggest problem we have, is that the politicians are not representing the people. This guy sounds fascinating. And boy, is he different. Okay, now I'm going to have to stop this.
It was to capture...
Stop. Okay. This is an interview with the daughter of a jihadist leader, and she explains why she rejected her Islamic upbringing. Now, I want to make something clear. We're not talking about the Muslim religion. We're talking about political Islam, and those are two different things. She was born and raised in Egypt, and she has in-depth experience with it because her father was a jihad leader, and she is now speaking out against it, which seems to be happening more and more, which is interesting. But as I've said in previous news clips, I think it's really important that we hear the voices of people who've been involved in things that we need to know about and to understand better and hear their perspective rather than ours. So this is just the first few minutes. This is an over an hour interview, but this is just the first few minutes that I thought you might find interesting.
Islam is very political. It was to capture the political system of any country it goes to.
How do you know that?
I lived in a tragedy all my life in Egypt.
In Christianity, Jesus died for us.
In Islam, we must die for Allah.
I feel that the America that I'm raising my kids in is not the same America that my parents came to.
You don't have hatred for the Israelis that killed your dad?
At that time, I had a lot of hatred.
And you lost so much for that fake cause.
I lost my childhood. I lost my dad.
We owe everything to America.
Shireen and Noni, it is so great to have you here. People are going to be fascinated by how we met and your entire story. I want to start with Shireen because I feel like I'm always dumping on social media for good reasons. It's become such a force of evil in our society. But we got to meet through social media. And so there are some silver linings in some of our activity on social. And I will never forget the day that I received a direct message from you on Instagram, fellow Mama Bear, and when you introduced yourself and just how you even found PragerU and how you found me, it was just so God-sent and so moving to me. Do you want to just describe it to the friends that are watching us?
So that's all I'm going to show of that. You can watch the rest yourself. As I always do, I'll put the links in the description, and you can follow up on it at your own time. Obviously, if you're going to watch this, you're going to have to set aside some time because it's an hour long. This next item that I have is an interesting story about a Fox News anchor who made a comment on a show about a program that the Biden administration is taking credit for, $35 copays for insulin. And the Biden program is saying that they are the ones who instituted this, and he said, I seem to recall that happening during the Trump administration. Well, the Biden administration challenged him and said he was lying. And so this is his response.
Now we want to take a moment here on the program to talk to you about this. Yesterday, coming out of a segment in which the $35 insulin copay under the Inflation Reduction Act was mentioned, I remarked that I recall that back in May of 2020, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services had issued a press release that stated President Trump had a plan to lower insulin copays to $35. The Biden campaign's rapid response issued a post on X saying the following, quote, Fox host tries to claim Trump, not President Biden, capped insulin at $35 a month. Fact check. This is a blatant lie. But there are receipts to dispute the Biden campaign's claim about what I said. First, the press release from May 26th of 2020, which read, President Trump announces lower out-of-pocket insulin costs for Medicare seniors across the nation participating in enhanced Part D prescription drug plans will provide Medicare beneficiaries access to a broad set of insulins at a maximum $35 copay for a month's supply from the beginning of the year through Part D coverage gap. At the White House that same day, there was a Rose Garden event to announce the program. CEOs from participating drug companies were in attendance, as was the CEO of the American Diabetes Association, Tracy Brown.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Administrator Verma, for making this afternoon one that we can focus on the 34 million Americans like myself who's living with diabetes, 7 million of which need insulin to live. Today, together, we are helping millions of seniors access insulin affordably. This is a very big deal.
I was in the Rose Garden that afternoon, as were many other news organizations. Here's what the Washington Post wrote about the plan. Quote, the administration has brokered an agreement between insulin manufacturers and some Medicare prescription drug plans that would lower costs for some seniors beginning in 2021 by capping copays at $35 for a monthly supply. That $35 copay cap was available to seniors under the Medicare Part D senior savings model. It was a program in which drug companies would voluntarily keep copays for insulin affordable. Throughout the fall of 2020, Medicare enrolled seniors in the plan. According to CMS documents, the program was in place for 3 years. Quote, this voluntary model began on January 1st, 2021 and concluded on December 31st, 2023. In May of 2023, the RAND Corporation issued an evaluation of the senior savings model, $35 copay program, which said in part, quote, the model test has generated a robust response from eligible POs, parent organizations, with even greater participation in the second year of implementation. Most participating plans offered plan-selected model insulins at the maximum $35 per month copayment. While the $35 copay was already available to seniors who chose to enroll in the senior savings model, President Biden made it his, quote, signature issue to convert the voluntary program into a mandatory program. The Inflation Reduction Act caps cost sharing for each insulin product covered under a Medicare prescription drug plan. We invited a representative from the Biden campaign to come on the program with us to discuss the issue, but thus far, they have made no one available.
So there's that. I have a couple things I want to say about this. The first thing is, this is how journalism should work. I think the reason why it worked in this case is because he took personal offense to the fact that he was called a liar, and so he decided to do some fact-checking. I don't watch national TV news. I don't watch Fox, CBS, NBC, ABC, CNN, MSNBC, any of that, because they're all lying through their teeth. They give you narratives that they want to sell you, and they could care less about the truth. But in this specific case, I think what happened was he felt personally offended that he was called a liar, and so he decided to do the fact-checking and present it to you. And so that's what happened there. The second thing I'll say about it is that I'm sure, and I haven't seen the response, but I'm sure that when the Biden administration sees his response, they will then come back with, yes, but Trump didn't make it mandatory, and not everyone participated. And so that's how we can say that we're the first ones to implement it. This is just political baloney, but that's how politics works. You know it. I know it. We all know it. Okay? This next item that I have is called Free Speech Victory. This is on Public. It's by Michael Schellenberger, who is a journalist that I admire because I think that he is seeking the truth no matter where it lies. And he's written an article, but he's also got a narration, and I'm going to play that for you. It's only 2 minutes and 28 seconds long, and I thought you might find it interesting.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Schellenberger for Public. Around the world, governments are trying to censor the internet, and not just for their own citizens. This reality was dismissed as a conspiracy theory until late April, when Australia demanded that social media platforms take down a violent video, and not just in Australia, but everywhere. All the social media platforms, including Facebook and Google, complied with the Australian government's demand, except for Elon Musk's X, which took the case to court. Australia's Prime Minister said Musk, quote, thinks he's above the law, and, quote, found it extraordinary that X chose not to comply and are trying to argue their case. A senator from Australia called for Musk to be jailed. But Musk's principled defense of free speech was vindicated a few hours ago when an Australian court ruled in Musk's favor, and Australia's top censor, known as the E-Safety Commissioner, dropped her lawsuit. This free speech victory isn't the end of the story, of course. Australia, like governments around the world, is determined to expand government censorship at all costs. We can expect they'll be back with fresh censorship demands any day now. But this is just the free speech victory that we needed right now.
Okay, I'm going to stop that there. Again, I'll put the links in the description, and you can read these and watch them on your own. And then I have one last final thing, which when I read this, I thought, how completely typical of American politics. This is an article in the New Jersey Globe, and as you can see from the headline, Menendez will seek a fourth Senate term as an independent. This senator is currently on trial for corruption, and they have video evidence of him taking bribes. And yet, he is so desperate to maintain his office in the Senate that because the Democratic Party wouldn't support him any longer, they told him he should resign, he's decided to run as an independent. Now, what he could end up doing for the first time in a long time is electing a Republican senator in the state of New Jersey, which, for my opinion, would be hilarious. But, you know, we have so many examples of this in our country. It's unbelievable. I can't understand how voters can vote for someone like this. How can you check the box beside the name of someone that you know is being charged with corruption, is on trial for corruption, and they have video evidence of him giving bribes? How can you do that? Yeah, you can read the article and you can read how he says he's completely innocent. And yes, in our system of government, in our legal system, you are innocent until proven guilty. That is true. But there's a difference between being innocent and being qualified or ethical to be a politician, to be a senator, for crying out loud. Oh, Lord have mercy. Let me turn my shirt off here so you can see me. Oh, I love these shirts. Oh, man, I'm telling you, what a day, what a country, what a world we live in, what craziness we're surrounded by. But we still have each other, and we can still be thankful for that. And so I'm thankful for you, and I pray for you. I pray that you will have an abundant life, that you will live a long time, that you'll be healthy, that God will keep you safe from harm, and that you will be born again if you're not already. I'm going to get you. I pray for the same thing for every person that you love. More than anything, I pray that you will be anxious for nothing, But in all things, through prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, you will let your requests be made known to God. And the peace that passes all understanding will keep your heart and mind in Christ Jesus. This is the Vietnam era vet out.